more about running shoes? Should you have a zero drop? Should you have a lift in your shoe? How high should your shoe be? What kind of stack height? You know, there's all these terms about shoes, so we want to go through some of this right now and talk about some of the different types of shoes and, you know, think about what strategy would be best for you and your type of running. So to understand what we're talking about when we say stack height, this is a shoe that doesn't have any stack height. It's an absolute minimalist shoe, barely more than barefoot. It's basically an outsole with an upper that just keeps the sole of the shoe on your foot, and it's there to protect your skin. It doesn't provide any support, no correction. It just keeps the cuts and bruises to a minimum. Then we go to this next type of shoe that's elevated, and you see quite a bit of material in here. The shoe's lifted up, it's raised. We call that stack height. When we go to this shoe here, we see that we have quite a bit of material in here, and the heel and the toe position are in different locations. One's going to be higher than the other. Christy, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so the differential between the heel and the toe is what we call, and what you'll most commonly hear is referred to as a drop. And so the drop is really important when you start a discussion about a minimal, barefoot, or maximalist shoe, which has become very on trend in the last several years. Barefoot running, barefoot shoes are typically about 4 millimeters and lower. So the first shoe that we looked at here is probably a zero drop shoe. We're looking at very little differential between the heel and the toe. It's pretty much flat. So what happens is your Achilles will stretch fully, and as will your soleus and gastroc, so your calf muscles will stretch as well. When using a barefoot shoe, you have to integrate this very slowly and carefully into your normal running regimen. You need to introduce it with a normal trainer as well, and only integrate it about 10% more walking and running each week, not diving straight into using it regularly, or else you're going to overstress both your Achilles and your calf muscles to the point of injury very quickly. In this shoe, we have a traditional drop. So what Adidas does is we use a 10 millimeter differential between heel to toe, and it's pretty evident here with the thickness in the heel to the forefoot. What that allows for in particular is for people who are heel striking or midfoot striking to very quickly get shock absorption here and very quickly launch off into their toe. The 10 millimeter drop is traditional because it's going to give you just enough support in that Achilles so that you're not overstraining it or stretching it. It's going to rock you forward in a very smooth motion, and it creates the least amount of stress on your body, and it's what you're probably most accustomed to in the shoes that you've been wearing throughout your lifetime. So that's a very quick explanation of drop. When we talk about maximalist shoes, which we don't really have an example of here, we're looking at shoes that are high stack heights, which are considerably thicker, and that may or may not have a differential, like a severe drop. That depends on the brand of shoe. So these are two questions you're going to want to ask a run specialty sales associate about when you're looking for purchasing a particular type of shoe.